And the next chapter is chapter 33. I can't remember much. I'm so glad I kept my tape sessions from my time in the village. I will not swear to you that the next part of this story is exactly accurate, but it's pretty damn close. Frankly, I did not have any idea how many days passed until much later when I listened to this part of the story on my tape over a year afterwards. As I told you already, I went to my duty station in the bush carrying a tape recorder to make a record of my exploits. I dictated almost every night in my trusty tape recorder. I kept a running journal. It was typed once I got back to America years later, and then printed in a booklet form back in Namibia. I have one copy left. This writing is what I remember as the true story. And then I filled in the facts as best I can remember about the day I died. So, here's my best shot at what I remember. Monday morning, my school principal ordered me to stop work immediately and take time out to rest. I took the lead from his direct order to manage my escape from malaria land. I went out to my hut and I dug out a certified document out of a cardboard tube containing my lawyer graduation sheepskin from Delaware Law School and showed him my Juris Doctor. It's hanging on that wall right there. I carried it wherever I went. I outranked him. I pointed out that I'm not a doctor of education, I'm a lawyer, a fact that was not too well known by a living soul in Africa. I confronted him and said, I have rights. I'm not a child. I want to work, etc. Actually, in my defense, I was totally delirious. I can't believe I said all those things to him. Yet somehow, I knew the act I was putting on was my ticket out of that village. He immediately ordered me to go to town and to go to the hospital. It worked. But talk about shame. I was burning with shame. I knew I was flirting with officially being declared a quitter again. And everyone at home in America would know it. I slinked back to my hut and crawled into my sleeping bag. The hallucinations were fantastic. I kept seeing Uncle Connie, who was dead, by the way. I kept seeing Uncle Connie. I had helped him daily when he died of cancer a few years ago. In my coma, he pestered me and pestered me and pestered me to stay awake by tossing a medicine-sized ball of pure light, about that big, directly into my chest. He kept throwing it at me, kept hitting me in the chest. I saw many others who were still alive in America. And in one particular hallucination, I saw a young girl named Julie who was stationed only 50 kilometers away. She had her hands on her hips, castigating me constantly for not taking the malaria pills. I can see her here today as I type. I have no idea what happened for the next 2 days, but no one would come near my hut in the village. They knew I was really sick. As best I can recall, on Wednesday afternoon, all the male teachers in the village were getting ready to go away for the long Easter weekend. Everyone was excited. I was totally whipped. My hut neighbor was off to town and told the principal he had room for me. I really struggled to keep up a good front. They could see that I was suffering on my face, and I had lost so much weight my pants kept falling off. I sat shotgun so the air would cool me down. I drifted in and out of consciousness as we drove into town, and hours later we arrived at Henry's house. Henry blurted as I walked up the driveway, "Oh my God, it's good to see you, mate. Hey, you're dying." "Nah, Henry, just a bad cold. I'll be all right once I get into your air-conditioning living room." "Like hell you will. You're going straight to the hospital. You have malaria." Off we went in his bakkie, that's a pickup truck as I've told you before, and damn if we didn't meet Isaac, the local Sangoomer friend of mine, who was waiting for me like he was expecting me. He could not have known I was coming. There were no phone calls, there was absolutely no reason for him to be there, and it was late and it was almost dark. Whew. He gave me quinine pills to take as soon as possible. Then he gave me a large bag to take home to Henry's for the night. On the way back, my headache eased some. Henry announced that he and his lovely wife Gladys were going on holiday out to the coast for 2 weeks, and would I live at their house until they returned. Robbery is a local industry in Capri, and God help the dope that leaves his home unprotected. It's a bloody miracle, I yelled joyfully. 10 days in an air-conditioned bedroom, and after a good sleep, then maybe some food. It's a bloody fucking miracle, all right, mate, yelled my savior. You Americans are all crazy, you know that? I went straight to bed. They were gone when I awoke. I was drenched in sweat. The sheets, the mattress, pools of water on the floor beside me. I was so weak I could barely stand. I stripped the bed. I propped the mattress up on its side so it would dry out, and I went into the bathroom. I threw the sheets and the blanket into the tub, and I knelt down to stare at them. As a note, and I mean this, I can still smell the brown water coming out of that faucet from that day. As the smelly brown, cold water ran into the tub, the smell made me nauseous, and I started heaving uncontrollably, and then I just passed out. I awoke wet all over as the tub was running over. I turned off the tap, and I passed out again. And that was the last I clearly remember for a long, long while. The next thing I remembered, I was lying on the living room floor in my dream. I heard a voice yelling, "Father Judo! Father Judo!" It was Michelle, the Egyptian judo player, also stationed in Capri at a vocational school. How he possibly could have known I was at Henry's is still a mystery to me. I remember trying to speak and no sound coming out. Apparently, he brought a friend back in a vehicle, and they carted me on their backs out to the vehicle and then on to the hospital. I do not remember that part. As it turns out, they saved my life.